Welcome back, YouTube. So today we're going to take a look into the price action to see what is going on here as far as for why the pricing of the cryptos, especially the top 10, there's so much selling pressure going on. And initially, I know you would think maybe it's the shorts coming in or shorts are piling in, but that's not true. This is actually some wallets liquidating to free up some capital. If you watched my last few videos, I went into details as far as what I think is going on and where that capital is going. When you take a look at the amount of capital that's coming out versus where there's massive momentum building in other markets, you can kind of see where that transfer happens. Just remember, money never necessarily dies, it just simply transfers, right? So that's why I look at things that says if there's a pull somewhere, there should be a rise in another area. And that's kind of how I drew that correlation. But you can check out my last video for that. It's about 30 minutes long, but it goes into what I believe is going on in kind of like a bigger picture. But as far as for the price action that we're seeing here and the potential of a rebound, we'll see some evidence here. We're going to take a look at some charts, but this kind of explains it really well here. It says Doge long-term holders have cut selling pressure by 98% this week. After nearly 2 weeks of intense bearish pressure, recent on-chain data trends suggest that Doge sellers are now showing fatigue signals. If sustained, this move could possibly spark a rebound phase in the days ahead. So pretty much what that means is we pretty much peaked at around a 40-day low. Bitcoin is at a 70. It touched off of the 72-day, which is really a strong sell signal for Bitcoin. In that regard, I know people are like to compare. So, oh well, Bitcoin rises to 70,000 and Doge isn't doing much. But then when Bitcoin sells off and drops to a 72, and Doge does not drop that much. And as far as like the percentage wise, if you're looking at the initial like sell off and doing a cost average with the dollars, you don't necessarily see that aggressive sell off. Doge may drop like a penny or two. Now, obviously, dollar amounts and stuff is a slight variance, but you look at that and you're saying, okay, well, Doge is retracing pretty much to where it initially grabs liquidity from on this run when it needs to. So I guess to better explain it, let me switch over to the charts so that way you can see what I'm talking about here. Switch over here. I'll leave Fib off of here for now, just so we can kind of get a better picture. So we know that Bitcoin had initially risen above the 72, and it got the golden cross, and it got that run to make the new all-time high. And then we were charting it for Dogecoin as well. And I'm zooming in here so you can kind of see the 72 here. So we were getting the cross. We had merged into the 72, but we never emerged out of it, right? And that's one of the bigger signals I was talking about was the 14 and the 72, because 100% of the time, once we got that cross, there was a run, right? And I charted this all the way back for at least the last few years, and it has not failed yet. So the 14 and 72, I know some people are saying, oh, what happened to the 14 and 72? We simply didn't emerge out of it. We merged into the 72, but then it literally curved. If you can see here, back on the 31st and the 1st of June, when the yellow line pops up here, it's inside the 72, but then it literally just curved downward. So we didn't get the cross as far as we're coming up to the outside. So that's something to look for, because it's not far apart now. So even if we rebounded here, or if we trended sideways here, we're still very close here. It's not like this big gap to fill from like the 12th of May to the 28th or something like that. We're still relatively close here to get that signal. So that's something to look for. But if we're looking as far as for where Doge typically grabs liquidity, when it's when it needs to, or when there's a lot of selling pressure, and we're approaching that range here. This is typically that 12 range. That's where Doge grabs liquidity. If we can compare this to Bitcoin, you'll see that there is some liquidity here for Bitcoin at around 64,000. So right here, if Bitcoin doesn't use the 72-day, then we're looking at another $3,000 sell-off for Bitcoin, which will probably push Doge to around like that 12 cent. But the biggest thing about Doge is that it rallies significantly from that 12 cent range. As we just saw, it typically goes to around like 15. So the biggest thing as far as for what's going on, as far as for the selling pressure, raising that capital, or the getting like a bottom to say, okay, well, where is this going to end at and have the rebound? that's one of the things that we're going to have to look for here is if this 72 day, because right now it's rejecting off of the 72 day, which is good because that means that it's unlikely that the rest of the market will sell off, especially now that we know that Doge long-term holders are still not selling. So they're not triggering the panic that you would think this would for this sell-off here. So we are, if I can put Fib on here so I can take a look. So this is typically where we bottom at. I can extend this over slightly, move it. We haven't reached there yet, but again, if the 72-day holds up for Bitcoin and we start getting some capital back into the market or some stabilization, we can kind of compare this similar to May 14th when we came from 17 cent and we bottomed at the around 13 and then back to 17. So if we reject from here and go up, then we can consider this the range between around like 13.80 and 17 cent because we've done it before. Literally about a month ago, right? On the 11th, we were, so a little about a month ago, we were in this price range. So this is like literally around like it did like a 30-day repeat here. So the market doesn't have the strength to go to the next level just yet as far as for the next leg up. So where we grab liquidity from is going to be telling as far as for where the bottom of this test is going to be and setting up for the next leg. The biggest thing is, again, for that signal, I'll be watching for a curve here in the 14 and 72. Again, because 100% of the time that has signaled a rally here. If you look back through our history, you guys can check this out for yourself. But again, for like the last few years, at least, this has not failed to signal liquidity coming into the market. So that's one of the things that we're going to be looking for here. I wanted to point out just the shorts here just to kind of show you guys that it's not the shorts. As I said, shorts are kind of hanging out. They had that initial peak, but there's no big spikes here, no big changes. They came in a little bit, but they literally sold off up 0.01% for the day. So no big changes here for Doge. This is simply the whales here taking some profits. And again, that's what I believe as far as the people that hold these crypto here, they're taking some profits and pumping it into other areas of the market. Now, that obviously doesn't affect the bull run altogether. People saying, oh, the bull run's over, or why is Dogecoin dumping? Don't just look at Doge. I know I say this all the time, but I can't stress this enough. It's the crypto market. It's not if Bitcoin was still at like 72, 73,000, and then this happened to Doge specifically, then by all means, that is a sign of panic. That's a sign something is wrong, and the run is probably threatened to be over. But if you're seeing this across the board, this is not a Dogecoin issue. You see this across Bitcoin. You see this cliff here. You see the drop, the flat line, and then the additional sell-off here. You see it in Bitcoin, Ethereum. You see it in BNB, Solana. You see it in XRP, Doge. It's the exact same mirror here. So when you see these types of things, don't just exclusively attach it to Dogecoin and force Dogecoin into some isolation box that it doesn't belong in when it's the entire crypto market. The entire crypto market was sold off. Like, so even if outside of that, you can say, oh, the signals and stuff, the market, rising tides raise all boats. That's one of the things where we chart Bitcoin every day. When I look at the price of Dogecoin, say, hey, this is great. Bitcoin is trending this. We're waiting for that capital as far as to come into Bitcoin. Doge is about to get its signal. Now, unless Doge gets a specific catalyst, let's say something like X payments, then it's not going to go against the grain. The market will fall together, it will rise together, and then you'll have the signals that confirm as far as for when the explosiveness kind of comes in, because you can have the market generally rising together, but then you can get some explosive movements in there. And you have signals and stuff for that. But overall, like right now, Doge isn't going to run to 45 cent when people are specifically selling the coins to raise capital. And specifically, you don't want that, because if Doge did run right now, it'll probably entice additional selling. Like if Elon came out right now and said X payments, yes, the coin would run, but the people that hold this coin are like, oh my God, we needed more money. This is great. and then sell additional coins as well. So you have to kind of keep that in mind when there's money liquidity coming out of the market. They'll typically adjust those portfolios percentage wise, and that's how you get these similar patterns across the board. So overall, we're looking for the rejection here off the 72 to hold for Bitcoin. That means that we're going to repeat a cycle here that we've seen in Doge about a month ago. And that would mean that we are bouncing somewhere between around like that 13.8 and that 17 cent mark. So that's something to kind of keep an eye on for the next few days here. Let me go back to the chart here. For I know some people were asking about entries. As you can see, per this cycle, right? Per where we are right now, every time we've came to this level, we grab liquidity and then we tested higher. So whether this is back in February, back in March, April, May, and then June, right? This is repeated every month. Like as far as for this, well, I won't say this one because we were still rallying, but every 30 days, there's a test down here at the bottom. It grabs liquidity and tries to test higher, right? So February, March, April, May, June, right? So, and then we run and test that 17, 18 cent mark. So if you're looking, I know traders have already figured this out. They're swing traders. They're going to be in here. They're going to buy in here, and they're going to take profits here, which helps strengthen this ceiling here until you eventually break it. But just kind of expect if you buy here, you're going to have an opportunity to pretty much buy the bottom that's been in since March, right? This has been 3 months now this year where you'd be buying it. So the answer to your questions, is this a great zone to buy in? The answer is absolutely yes. And you can look at this with your eyes to confirm that, right? So that's not even my opinion. You can just look at this on the chart here or take a look at your own chart. You'll see the same thing and it'll kind of give you an answer there. So this is more of a 30-day cycle replaying itself over and over again until we grab the liquidity needed enough or the strength needed enough to get that next leg up. And we'll have some confirmation there with obviously Bitcoin maintaining that 70 mark because Bitcoin's been rejected between 70 and 73,000. It's been rejected around 22 times, I believe. And then obviously we see the rejection here of the 14 and 72 cross for Doge. So this is just a matter of waiting, and the second leg here of this market is going to take place a little later. So it's not a Doge specific thing or Bitcoin specific thing. It's just the capital that's coming into the market is just saying not yet. So and we just kind of have to adhere to what we're seeing here and pay attention to like the patterns and stuff that we're seeing, because this is certainly a pattern every month that we're here. And with the rejections of Bitcoin off of the 72, it's obviously saying it doesn't have the strength to go higher. And I know people that hold Doge are going to say, oh my God, Doge is going to zero. While the people that hold Bitcoin, they're cheering and saying, yeah, we have more time before it goes up. So I know it's a different mindset, but just for those of you that are heavily invested in Doge and don't look at any other coins, I just highly encourage you to do so. And I believe it'll be very therapeutic and helpful. So let me know if you found value in this video. Please consider subscribing to the channel. We are going to attempt to beat Bitcoin to 100,000 by getting 100,000 subscribers first. So as it's bumping its head at around 70, it's just simply giving us more time. So if you have not done so, please consider doing so. I appreciate all of you. Leave me a comment and I'll see you guys in the next video.